This year of 2018 marks the 50th anniversary of the publication of one of the most famous papal encyclicals of the 20th century, Humanae Vitae. Blessed Pope Paul VI issued this marvelous restatement of the constant and authoritative teaching of the Catholic Church on the holy state of marriage and its essential goods and properties. What is so apparent from the clear and understandable language is that the Holy Father is repeating and further explaining the beauty of the three essential goods of marriage: permanence, fidelity, and children, and how by their very nature cannot be arbitrarily separated from the two essential properties of marriage, unity and fruitfulness, without destroying marriage itself. It's essential that we give engaged couples what they need to live out their vocation of marriage. We require a full course of natural family planning for engaged couples, in addition to a pre-marriage seminar so that couples understand each other more fully and what the Church asks of them in this union. But this doesn't stop after the engagement. Married couples are called to fulfill what the Church teaches regarding their lifelong bond. As human life itself, so the one and only union from which new life is born is unique to human beings, and its origin is in God. What a gift this great encyclical has been and continues to be to our Church and the world. Read it and live the life of true marital virtue that Blessed Pope Paul VI calls for.
I was raised in the Catholic Church, but didn't make it a part of my life after confirmation. I ran from God, I got married outside of the church, and had no interest in ever returning. After many years of doing it on my own, our marriage was in ruins. On the verge of divorce, God called me back to His church with one simple phrase: Catholicism will save your marriage. With Kara's support, we started the process of pursuing our convalidation, which for us meant marriage prep after 2 kids and 6 years of marriage. During this time, we were also required to take a natural family planning course. It seemed crazy, but we had nothing to lose. Around the 3rd or 4th week, Father Kovash introduced us to the encyclical by Pope Paul VI called Humanae Vitae, and it spoke to our souls.
I remember the day Father Kovash introduced us to Humanae Vitae like it was yesterday. I had never in my life heard of contraceptives being wrong. I was literally shocked at what I learned that day. Soon after, we agreed to throw out all forms of contraceptives and began taking natural family planning seriously.
A period of abstinence before our convalidation brought such grace to our lives. We learned how to love each other. We began praying and reading together in the evenings. We found new ways to be intimate with each other. The more I fell in love with God and understood His love for me, the more I could properly love my wife.
Through our period of abstinence, we were able to see each other as children of God and not just as an object for our own satisfaction. It humbled us both as we attempted to pray together each night, stumbling through the words and the awkwardness.
Prayer and charting became regular evening activities. We respected each other and wanted what was best for each other over ourselves. We eventually decided to no longer postpone pregnancy and conceived our 3rd son the following month, whom we couldn't imagine living without anymore.
We found the missing piece, and it was right there all along. I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that properly reordering our sexuality changed my life and our marriage in the most amazing and blessed way. I feel like we finally have the utmost respect for each other. We are truly giving ourselves to one another in body, mind, and spirit. I understand the true meaning of intimacy. I no longer feel like just a body. I feel a purpose for being the woman that God created me to be. I can proudly say that because of the Church's teachings regarding marriage, we have been set free.
In his encyclical, Humanae Vitae, which means on human life, Pope Paul VI reaffirmed the Church's traditional understanding of sex and marriage, and considered it in light of the contemporary challenge of artificial contraception. He argued that if we fail to follow the truth about human sexuality, the following 5 things will mark our society. First, an increase in marital infidelity and a general lowering of moral standards. In other words, marriage will come to mean less, and we will accept substitutes or imperfect forms of union in its place. Secondly, men will forget the dignity of and reverence due women and disregard their physical and emotional well-being. So men will treat women simply as equal to men, without any concern for what makes women distinctive from and complementary to man. Thirdly, men will no longer see women as partners to care for, but reduce women to being mere instruments for the satisfaction of their own desires. We can see this most clearly in the huge increase in pornography in our culture. Fourthly, if the definition of marriage and sex is able to be changed, then governments will define sex and procreation as they see fit. And lastly, people will think that they have unlimited dominion over their own bodies to do whatever they want with them. In short, by removing God and His will from our marriages, we will quickly find ourselves estranged from members of the opposite sex, estranged from our society, and even estranged from our own bodies. We will be profoundly lonely. Unfortunately, we have seen these predictions come to take place over the last 50 years. Yet, there's hope, because our God is not a far-off God who gives us rules because He hates us and then expects moral perfection. But He is a Father who has given us the path written in our nature to live out our sexuality, and gave Israel the command to circumcision as a sign of His covenantal promise. But even more importantly, He is a Father who continues to guide us through the church, and He wants every couple to be close to Him and to trust Him, even when it is hard to. Following the teachings of Humanae Vitae isn't very popular, and so it does not always seem easy. However, God knows this. He knows how broken our individual relationships and marriages are, and He wants each of us to rely on Him. For He wants to be for us the way, the truth, and the life, especially in our marriages.